They gathered and goose-stepped in Beijing yesterday commemorating the end of World War II. But was that really the point? Could it be that Beijing has finally grown tired of Kim Jong-un? Plus, new details about the Bangkok bombing suspect has come to light. These stories are coming up next. This is the Asia Brief. Greetings and salutations, my excellent friends. Steve Miller here on this Friday, September 4th, 2015. Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll go ahead and begin with a short recap of yesterday's events in China. By now, you've heard the reports of China's massive victory parade marking the end of World War II. The festivities, joined by some 30 heads of state, featuring an impressive array of over 12,000 troops, tanks, drones, fighter jets, and nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missiles. Gary Brown, director of the China Studies Center at the University of Sydney, said, quote, "What Xi is saying to his own people and to the rest of the world, China is strong enough not to be pushed around, but he's not saying China is ready to start pushing the rest of the world around." End quote. Proof of that could be seen with the unveiling of the Dongfeng 21D. The missile is often called a carrier killer because it can fly at speeds upwards of Mach 10, far faster than anything that can knock it out of the sky, and has a range of 1,450 kilometers or 900 miles. Xi also took the celebration as an opportunity to announce he was culling 300,000 troops from China's military forces, yet another example of Xi's confidence in not only the technology of his armed forces, but also that it can function even better with reduced ranks. Dipankar Banerjee, a retired Major General in the Indian Army and a mentor at the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies in New Delhi, also hit this nail on the head. The display of weapons was meant to be a show of force against Japan, indicating we could see an uptick in the territorial row with Tokyo now that Beijing has effectively squatted and won territory in the South China Sea. What really makes you wonder is what kind of train wreck the forthcoming trilateral meeting with Xi, South Korea's Park Geun-hye, and Abe will be. Sure, the foreign ministers can get together and hammer out details, but the issues that need to be discussed at this level will find parties at polar opposite sides of the spectrum. Another not-so-subtle development of South Korean President Park Geun-hye's trip to Beijing was the joint message Xi and Chinese President Xi Jinping had for North Korea. The powerful pair minced no words in saying that the nuclear accord reached in 2005, calling for a verifiable denuclearization of the Korean peninsula, should be reinstated. Park reportedly told Xi, quote, "I would like to thank China for its constructive role in closely communicating with us in order to resolve the latest tension on the Korean peninsula." End quote. The United States liked what it heard. As was noted by Katina Adams in the U.S. State Department, quote, "The United States is committed to working with its partners and allies in the region to achieve consensus on terms for authentic and credible negotiations to implement the September 2005 joint statement." End quote. There's just one problem, and that would be Kim Jong-un. He frankly doesn't give a damn about the 2005 framework, and the fact that we're a decade into it and it's gone absolutely nowhere should be sign enough that it is a failed pathway. What's going to be interesting is to see how North Korea responds. Remember, analysts have stated a fourth nuclear test and a long-range missile launch are both within the realm of possibilities for Pyongyang. With this joint statement, some feel Xi is trying to distance China away from the DPRK should Kim do something foolish, in essence, giving Beijing a way out. There are a lot of reasons why Beijing needs North Korea as a buffer against the United States and its allies, but that can be achieved without Kim. Remember that second Bangkok bombing suspect that was taken into custody this week? You know, the one that some believe looks a little like the infamous man in yellow shirt that deposited the backpack filled with explosives at the Erawan Shrine? Well, National Police spokesman Prawit told reporters that when he was pinched by the police, he had on him a piece of paper with an explosives formula. Prawit said, quote, "These mix of chemicals you can easily obtain anywhere legally, but when you combine them, they become a chemical that is quick to catch fire and can be developed to become a detonator. This formula can also be used to enlarge the radius of the bomb. It can be used for both the bombings. But when the bomb detonates, this element, if used in the bomb, would disappear immediately because it's an amplifier." End quote. This also happens to be the same individual whose fingerprints were matched to those found inside one of the apartments with bomb-making materials. Thai military authorities have identified him as Yusufu Mirali, but have yet to positively identify him as the man in yellow. With the number of falsified passports collected thus far, the apparent connections to both Turkey and China, the narrative that this is an international group with Uyghur sympathies who are targeting Chinese tourists is gaining momentum. However, while that may be a good working theory, one must wait and see where the evidence takes the investigation, which is why the net being cast continues to grow. Well, my friends, those are today's stories. Please take a moment and let me know your thoughts. That's it for me this week, and I hope your weekend is filled with awesome sauce. The Asia Brief is a special feature of the Asia News Weekly podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with your friends, and if you haven't, subscribe. Subscribing is free, and when you do, the next episode is delivered automatically to you. You can subscribe on our website, asianewsweekly.net, or in your favorite podcast application. You can also keep up with more news from the region by following Asia News Weekly on Facebook or Twitter. And if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, be sure to drop us a line. That email address is podcast@asianewsweekly.net. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, remember to be true to yourself and to always be awesome.